So today's conversation is going to be one that's really dear to my heart. It's called Don't Lose It. I bought my first home when I was 23. I don't know what I thought I was doing, but I thought that if I went out and spent $250,000 on a house, it would immediately make me rich. And what I realized was that when the market began to turn and I was in a very bad loan and the property value was a lot lower than my loan amount, I needed to get out of it, but I didn't want to lose it to foreclosure, and I didn't want to walk away from my property. And so I had to come up with some very creative solutions to get out of my home, to be able to pay back the bank, to walk away with some sort of move on cash. And that really prompted my interest in helping other people do the same thing. And so this episode is going to kind of take you down memory lane. I want to go over to a house that I helped prevent from foreclosure, a family that I helped get back on their feet, and just talk about some of the options that people have to prevent foreclosure that they may not know about. So you guys remember the short sale that I was working on with Greg that we were telling you about? Well, this is actually the house. And I wanted to show this house because this was one of my first deals where I helped a family prevent foreclosure. I remember coming to this house and the owner would be so stressed because there would be eviction notices. They actually had a recorded auction date, foreclosure sales date. And for anyone who's familiar with foreclosures, preventing foreclosures, when they typically give you a foreclosure sales date, there's nothing that can be done. But we fought with Bank of America and we made sure that they were able to acknowledge that she had an offer on her property even though it was less than the amount that she owed, and we really let them know that she needed to sell her property so that she would be able to buy another property and not be a victim to a very predatory lending process. And so as a result, we were able to get the house sold. It was purchased by an investor. They flipped it. It's now resided, those who resided in a new family, and the family whose house that we were able to prevent from going into foreclosure, they've moved on to a beautiful house in Northern Virginia, which we're really excited about, but we helped them prevent foreclosure. So we wanted to share that with you. Another home that we helped get, another property that we helped out of pre-foreclosure, we sold it to an investor. They haven't started working on it yet. Believe it or not, this family bought this house at the height of the real estate market. It was newly renovated in 2012, 2011, and look at it now. That was actually their argument, is that the person that they bought it from, they felt like they had purchased a lemon. The roof started to cave in, it was water issues throughout the house, and it was just a total problem. So we were finally able to get the banks to realize that the $250,000 that they said they owed on the property was way too much money. We negotiated with the bank for over 18 months. We fought hard to make sure that this family didn't go into foreclosure. We were able to beat multiple foreclosure sales dates, and finally this property on Fourier Avenue in Capitol Heights was able to sell, and we were able to get it discounted to under $60,000 because the condition of this property certainly reflects that. And the thing about really going through the short sale process is that you have to be vigilant and on top of the banks, but you also have to make sure the property is secured in the meantime. This area is just it's an area outside of DC, so you have a little bit of everything. So we had to make sure that no one was squatting in the property, no drug was being used in the property, and we also had to pay attention to the cats. There were a lot of stray cats that would end up in the house, and we would have to constantly call like the government to get the cats out. So it was just a really big deal. But what I'm most happy about is that they were able to get out of this lemon. It's going to an investor who's going to give it the TLC that it deserves, and they did not go into foreclosure. So that's what we do. We prevent foreclosures around here. Hey guys, so I'm excited. I dropped into the office to get some work done. I'm talking to my REI mentees. They're finding deals, getting them done, and I'm really excited to help them. That's a big passion of mine. And this afternoon, we're going to be interviewing clients of mine who I've actually been able to help them preserve the legacy, preserve a property that was inherited, I think from maybe like the 1930s. Amazing story how this property was owned outright by their great grandmother, and she actually passed away. left the property to her great-great-grandchild. And this young lady under the age of 30 was able to move into her first home, her and her daughter, and it's in Washington, D.C. The current as-is value of the property is almost $780,000, and she only spent maybe $150,000 modernizing it. So I'm really excited to share this story and just make sure that you guys know what's going on. First of all, welcome. We're so excited. I'm here with a family that's really dear to my heart, and I'm going to introduce them now, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about why we're together, breaking bread, enjoying dinner. It's because I wanted to share the power of preserving legacy with everyone watching the show. So often we talk about real estate investing from the perspective of flipping and wholesaling, but we very rarely shine enough light on what really is supposed to happen. Wealth transfers through purchases or assets purchased in one lifetime that happen to benefit the generations to come. So fortunately, we have a family that's able to share all about a wealth transfer that they experienced and really discuss how that helped to benefit them. So first, I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, starting with my friend here.
My name is Michelle, and I am the granddaughter of the property owner, or the previous property owner.
The original property
owner. Yes.
Absolutely. And we have this beautiful princess enjoying her miso.
I am Kanaya. I'm the daughter of her and the granddaughter of her.
Awesome.
My name is Tondaleo, and I am the great-granddaughter of the original property owner, and I am now the owner of the property.
Awesome.
And my name is Terry Lighty. I'm the husband of Michelle, and these are my girls.
Awesome. So the reason why we wanted to have this conversation with you guys is because so many people don't have I feel like the foresight that's needed to really plan and to really make decisions in our lifetime that benefits other generations. Sometimes we miss in the hustle and bustle of trying to get rich. So we do all of these things and we make all of this money in our lifetime, but when we pass away, our great-grandkids and our great-great-grandkids rarely have a chance to feel or even have any sort of what we've done, have an impression on their life. And so I know, Tondaleo, you inherited the property. Let's talk a little bit about the property itself and where it's located, and we can just kind of talk about the history of it as well. So where's the property located so everyone can...
The location of the property is in a neighborhood of Trinidad in Washington, D.C., which is close to Gallaudet University off of Florida Avenue.
And this area is definitely like one that's on the up and up, right?
Most definitely.
Even though it has a neighborhood council, neighborhood watch.
The neighborhood is upcoming right before my eyes.
That's good.
It's not what it used to be, but it's...
So Trinidad back in like the late 70s, early 80s and early 90s was really, especially in the 80s and 90s, was a very gang, drug, violence infested area. And even into the 2000s, there's still some areas or still some considerations of it being a more dangerous part of the city. But what's beautiful about this area is that with the development of that came across New York Avenue, all of this, is it called Southern Mass and Noma development, where they placed the metro station? The Noma development, I think, is what spearheaded it, where they added a metro stop about maybe 8 to 10 years ago and started building a lot of commercial properties. And then just overall, also the 8th Street corridor and its gentrification and its redevelopment kind of positioned Trinidad to be the easy next step, the next development that would really, the property's values would really increase and there would be an emergence of new buyers in that area. So gentrification is at an all-time high in Trinidad, but we're going to talk to a family, a black family that's been able to keep their home in their family for over 100 years. So your great-grandmother bought this property in 1917?
Yes.
1917.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about, like, has it always been like a value in your family to acquire real estate and make sure that those types of decisions are made, just generationally? Did you hear that in your home as you were growing up?
So my family migrated here from the South in Georgia, and all of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, they've all purchased homes in the DC area. So all the homes that they have purchased we've been able to maintain within the family.
Nice. That's awesome. And so that definitely is a value then.
It does.
That was a value.
Yes, it was a value.
That's awesome.
Not knowing. but it
Not
was a
knowing.
value.
Because here's the thing, sometimes I think we back into blessings. Like this was a back into blessing. But it's so common in your family that it's not even you, it's not uncommon. But for so many other people whose families have rented generation to generation, you know, they can't even fathom inheriting a house.
That's true.
You know, like that's a huge blessing. Look at Terry's face. Terry's like,
It's unimaginable, to be honest with you.
and
It
not
really is.
just
Yeah.
any house.
It's like, to be where it is.
To be where it is. I mean, because everyone who knows any history about DC real estate, DC was known as Chocolate City for a reason. It was a lot of African Americans who resided in the city, and for those of them who owned in the city, to be able to still have ownership of your property after all of the fluctuation. 1917. So we're talking a lot has happened in 100 years in DC's history. Plenty of reasons, you know, in the same way that we've seen economic downturn, like the stock market falling or the mortgage industry falling, and people, it fell through the cracks. Like what they had just fell through the cracks. For 100 plus years, your family's asset didn't fall through the cracks.
Yes.
That's like, that's amazing. So Terry, let's talk to you a little bit. You know, you definitely see the value in it. When she inherited the property, and we'll get to how Tandaleo inherited it, how much was the property worth at the time? As is.
As is, probably between 175 and 200 at the time.
When she inherited it?
Yeah.
When did she inherit it?
6-7 months ago.
Oh, it was worth more than that.
You're talking about when Tandaleo
Inherited the property, the value, the property value.
Oh.
Her property value was a little under 500,000. It was like between 475 and 510.
So I was thinking more or less before all the renovations.
Yeah.
So I was thinking
Before the renovations.
But even still, it was
Yeah,
still more than that.
as is, her property when she inherited was worth, I think about 475, 480. What did the appraisal come back at? Because I remember them
seeing
doing
like
one.
385. It was like between 385 and 400.
385 and 400.
And that was
Okay.
before anything was touched.
Right. So let's talk about like just having the home. How do you feel about being a mom? She's introduced herself as your daughter. So we all know this beautiful little girl belongs to you. Being a mom and now knowing that every month you're not paying into rent, but you're actually paying into a pretty nice size savings account that already has, because her after repair value, guys, is like in the low to mid, maybe low 700s, maybe 700 to 730. Is that where you are?
I believe so.
Yeah. $700,000 to $730,000 is what her house is worth now, and obviously her mortgage is less than $200,000.
Less than 2,000.
Less than no.
Oh no, I was
Overall,
thinking about monthly payments. Yes.
less than so your monthly payments are less than $2,000
Yes.
for a property
that.
that's valued. Let's talk about it in real people's terms. How much do we pay every month, right?
Okay, I'll take that.
So that's a great breakdown, because for a property that's normally worth $715,000, you're looking at least $4,000 to $5,000 a month in a mortgage.
Yes.
And your mortgage is less than $200,000.
Right.
And you're paying into a mortgage every month and not rent, which basically means that you have a very nice, strict but nice savings account set up, because you have over $500,000 worth of equity that will be available to you as you continue to prosper and grow financially. How crazy. I mean, how does that, tell me, how old are you?
32.
You have to say it so slow. So how does it feel? 32 years old, and you now, most moms, single moms,
Yes.
most single mothers would be thinking, okay, how am I gonna afford to send this girl to school? How am I gonna afford to explore her talents and her gifts as a young woman? And you have an option that most people don't have. You know, like you could literally refinance, take out $100,000 and it'll change your mortgage by maybe $500 a month or less. And that could take care of all 4 years of her college tuition.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Like, how does that, have you, I know it's a lot, but how has this transfer of wealth impacted your decision making in your life?
Now that you bring up the thing about her going to college, it's a blessing.
Can I say
And I
this?
think
I'm sorry. Oh, after you're done, I want to say
go
something.
ahead.
No, I want to hear.
No, that's not the way
I want to hear it, but I want to say something. Go ahead.
No. I thank the Lord every day for, blessing me, my family, and this even being able to, because most black families, I would say, who have properties, they're getting put out of their properties. They're not able to maintain the taxes or even maintain the property itself.
Right.
So
It's a blessing,
it's
right?
overwhelming. Yes.
That's amazing. And then it could have gone to you.
Yeah.
Because technically you are obviously alive. Pretty clear about that. But you said we have homes, it's her turn. Yes. So you basically allowed the gift to pass you and pass on to your daughter.
Yes. I was going through a home buying process in the first place.
Yes.
Didn't even think about this house on Montello Avenue.
Wow.
So I'm looking other places, houses that are already
fixed up,
already renovated, already, yes. So just trying to get my words together.
No, it's fine.
So I came in a speed bump in the road. So that was God telling me, slow your roll. I got it. I wasn't even thinking about this house.
Get out of here.
Not at all.
Man, talk about the ace in the hole that you didn't even think
I was
about.
going through home buying programs, NACA, I don't remember the other one.
HPAP, all of the down
HPAP.
payment
I was
assistance.
doing everything I needed to do to get myself together to go buy a home.
And let's talk
already-
about that.
That's
Why would you need to go through those programs? Because they help individuals qualify or make homes in DC more affordable.
Right.
Because most homes that have any sort of upgrades or finishes, it doesn't have to be immaculate. It just needs to be hardwood and granite. And they place a premium price tag on the worth or value of that home, and it costs a lot of money. So you went through the programs because you were looking for an affordable option,
Right.
and ended up getting 10 times better in context of like the equity value, the monthly mortgage, and even the customization that you were able to kind of bring in and do on your own. Tara, I know there was something that you wanted to say as well.
It's the point where we were talking about, the value. There are people they're in their homes today, and they've been in their home for 10 years, but do not have that amount of equity in their homes. When you've been in your house for 6 months and you have an enormous amount of equity in your home, that's to me is untapped. There's so much potential with that that you can do to continue to build wealth with that.
100 years later, she's walking into a scenario instead of going through and the programs that they offer for affordability in DC are phenomenal. But what she was able to inherit from her family gave her much more value, and if I'm not mistaken, similar cost, because your mortgage is roughly the same as what you would have been paying with these programs. So this inheritance, this preserving of legacy definitely positively impacted their family. So thank you guys. We'll continue to enjoy sushi and see you guys later. If you or someone you know are interested in preventing foreclosure, please contact us because we are excited to help you. Don't think that foreclosure is your only option. You can reach us at 1-800-530-3907 or info@qnicolemcnair.com. Make sure that you like, comment, and share. Please let everyone that you know about this video because they too may be overcoming challenges with their home, and we're excited to help them. Have a great day, guys.